Move it.
The noblewoman secretly finds a strong male slave to help her conceive. Such a crazy act is actually for revenge. With the help of her friend Gaia, Lucretia hosts a special party to bribe nobles from Rome. However, her husband's arch-enemy and the arena manager Tullius shows up uninvited. To prevent him from causing trouble, Guy personally entertains him, but he smashes Gaia's head after enjoying their intimacy. Heartbroken Lucretia vows to make Tullius pay dearly. However, when her father-in-law Titus learns about the depraved party she hosted at home, he insists on driving her out. Without family support, she has no way to fight against the powerful Tullius, and her husband Quintus is stripped of family power. Now the only way to stay is to conceive an heir, but she and Quintus have been trying for years without success, so she sets her sights on the strong slave gladiator Crixus. Learning that Crixus's father and grandfather both had 5 sons, Lucretia doesn't hesitate to bend over.
Into me.
And do not cease until you have spilled seed.
However, fate plays a trick. Just as she finishes discussing procreation techniques with Crixus, Titus suddenly falls ill and becomes bedridden. Quintus immediately follows the doctor to buy needed medicines, while Lucretia shows an intriguing expression. After others leave, she brings the wine sent by Tullius and feeds it to Titus. Meanwhile, Melita takes advantage of her husband's absence to visit Gannicus with wine. He deliberately lost the final fight with Crixus, hoping Titus would sell him to Tullius to end his forbidden love for Melita. Since they were forced to perform that special show publicly, Melita has also developed feelings for Gannicus. She decides to respond to his passionate love once before Gannicus leaves. However, just as they're about to get intimate, accident occurs. Obviously, there's a problem with the wine, and Gannicus, who didn't drink due to his troubled mood, narrowly escapes. At the same time, Titus also coughs up blood and dies on the spot.
You cursed this house.
Lucretia finally reveals her fangs. It turns out Titus's prolonged illness was due to Lucretia putting slow-acting poison in his wine every day, attempting to force him back to Sicily to recover. But Titus was so stubborn that he refused to leave even as his condition worsened. What Lucretia didn't anticipate was that the poisoned wine not only killed Titus, but also the innocent Melita. Seeing his wife's tragic death, Oenomaus is devastated, while Quintus doesn't have a strong reaction upon seeing his father's corpse. He instantly understands that Lucretia is the murderer, as Tullius has no reason to kill Titus, with whom he has no conflict of interest. But Quintus tacitly approving his wife's actions, without his father's restraint, he can finally act freely to realize his ambitions. The unknowing Gannicus and Oenomaus believe it was Tullius's poisoned wine killed Melita, and they vow to avenge their loved one. At the funeral, Vettius claims to represent Tullius in paying respects, but he's actually there to coerce Quintus into fulfilling Titus's promise to sell Gannicus. Quintus becomes furious and decides to settle old scores with Tullius for beating and urinating on him. To smoothly implement his revenge plan, Quintus enlists the help of his friend Salonius. Salonius is a typical fence-sitter. He was the one who leaked to Tullius about Lucretia's secret special party at home. He has also long coveted Lucretia, and was quite happy to persuade Quintus to compromise when he learned that Quintus was being forced to divorce Lucretia. Sure enough, he immediately tells Tullius about Quintus's plan. Learning that Quintus not only plans to harm him, but also intends to sell Gannicus to far-off Syria, Tullius becomes enraged and forces Salonius to reveal the transaction location. Just as Quintus brings Gannicus to a secluded alley to trade with the Syrians, Tullius bursts in aggressively, but he quickly realizes he's been tricked. Quintus has ambushed him with many men surrounding them.
Cunt. That is a brace. Cunt.
As Tullius came in a hurry without many followers, they're no match for a group of skilled gladiators, and the battle is one-sided with no suspense. Filling with rage, Gannicus and Oenomaus prepare to kill Tullius to avenge Melita, but Quintus stops them.
Such a death would be far too quick.
According to plans, Salonius takes Vettius away to force him to hand over all of Tullius's properties. Tullius panics completely when he's brought to the newly built Capua Grand Arena. He begs for mercy repeatedly and promises Quintus a place in the arena. Quintus directly stuffs his father's ashes into Tullius's mouth, making him taste the fear of death. Thinking of the bullying and humiliation he suffered before, Quintus can't contain his anger. Oenomaus and Gannicus, unable to restrain their hatred, pounce on Tullius and stab him repeatedly. With barely a breath left, Tullius watches himself being walled into the arena.
This arena was your life. Add to its foundations.
He dies without realizing he was framed and schemed against by a woman. Thus, Lucretia uses the family to complete her revenge for Gaia. She secretly summons Crixus again, but this time not for pregnancy. Gaia had always wanted to experience the strong Crixus, so Lucretia puts on Gaia's red wig, preparing to fulfill this wish for her. Quintus finally clears all obstacles, vowing to lead the family to fame in tomorrow's gladiatorial games. The one-eyed Danjong looks at Ashur with a cold smile. His chance for revenge has come. The next day, the newly built Kapur Grand Arena officially opens, with tens of thousands of spectators gathering to watch the grand opening battle. As the magistrate wonders why Tullius hasn't shown up, Vettius rushes in claiming Tullius has gone to deal with urgent matters elsewhere. Everyone is surprised, except for Quintus and Solonius. To cover up Tullius's death, Solonius has forced Vettius to cooperate in lying. Without Tullius' protection, Vettius dares not resist. Just as Quintus prepares to buy Tullius's gladiators according to the set script, Vettius suddenly states that all gladiators have been transferred to Solonius. Quintus' face changes immediately, as he had previously agreed with Solonius to split them equally. Obviously, Solonius has betrayed him, reaching an agreement with Vettius in advance to monopolize all the benefits. Now, Solonius has become the owner of the most gladiators, while Quintus finds himself at an absolute disadvantage. As entertainment before the game starts, 4 criminals are brought to the arena for execution. Casudius immediately recognizes Diona among them, still savoring her performance from that day. It seems Diona didn't successfully escape, and Nevia looks at Quintus with pleading eyes, but he vetoes pardoning Diona.
Let her death stand as a warning to all others who would seek to betray me.
This is the fate of female slaves. Their dignity, freedom, and lives are ruthlessly trampled by slave owners. The fate of male slaves is also about to face judgment. The first to take the field is Crixus. Lucretia trimmed his unruly long hair and beard the night before. With less savagery and more heroic spirit, he increasingly shows the potential of a champion gladiator. Each fight is exceptionally fierce as they vie for glory, with hot blood raining down and soaking the thirsty sand. It proves that Quintus's gladiators are superior. Under the tutelage of the legendary Henomaeus, their strength has skyrocketed, with Gannicus even winning by defeating 2 enemies at once. Solonius's face gradually darkens. Even with more wins than losses, Quintus's situation remains grim, as Solonius has twice as many gladiators. As night falls, the ultimate battle begins. Quintus is just one step away from realizing his ambition.
Only one man will claim victory this day. And by the gods, that man will be from the f***ing house of Patriarch!
Quintus has only 7 gladiators left to fight, while Solonius still has 13. Donsons of horns sound simultaneously, their majestic roar seemingly shaking the spectators' souls. The pungent smell of lamp oil mixed with lingering blood scent permeates the arena as flames rise, constantly stimulating the gladiators' taut nerves. They will fight to the death within a ring of fire to compete for the supreme glory of God of the arena.
Begin!
At the magistrate's command, Gannicus charges forward and topples the opponent coming towards him. But he's immediately knocked down by Solonius's ace Caburus with a shield. A comrade trying to block Caburus is killed with one stroke. Already at a numerical disadvantage and losing a man early, Quintus' situation looks dire. Gannicus, no longer careless, begins to fight cautiously, achieving kills with minimal effort. Ashur, though mediocre in strength, cleverly chooses weaker opponents. In contrast, the stronger Dangain finds himself in a tough battle. Crixus fights like a god of war, single-handedly fights 3 gladiators without falling behind. His outstanding performance quickly attracts Caburus' enmity, who kicks him several meters away. But even Caburus can't change the entire situation alone. Henomaeus' targeted training of the gladiators now pays off. The net fighter Naius dips his net in burning kerosene and threw it at his opponent, instantly scorching him. Gannicus also gradually gets into his rhythm, his dual swords mercilessly reaping lives. Seeing the tide turn in his favor, Quintus mocks Solonius' gladiators for having quantity but no quality. But his smugness is short-lived, as Dengang, seeking revenge for his punctured ass and right eye, turns to attack Ashur. Solonius immediately retorts that Quintus's gladiators disregard family honor and kill each other. Ashur, as treacherous as ever, kicks sand into Dangan's face as he's knocked down by a sneak attack. Blinded in his remaining eye, Dagon is left defenseless and is run through by Ashur's sword. By now, the battle has reached its climax, with not only the gladiators fighting fiercely, but even excited couples in the audience engaged in their own intense battles. Caburus is strong as an ox and unstoppable, charging and knocking Naius out of the ring. Crixus avoids his onslaught, methodically defeating and killing other enemy gladiators. Soon, only Crixus and Gannicus who entangled with Caburus remain. The cunning Ashur proposes joining forces to eliminate the strongest Gannicus before competing for the championship. But Crixus disdains allying with such a despicable person. There's only one opponent in his eyes.
Gannicus is mine!
But before dueling Gannicus, he must deal with the major problem of Caburus. Facing Caburus, who's as tough and thick as a monster, even their combined efforts can't break his defense. As Gannicus is kicked away, Crixus struggles to withstand the 1,000-pound chops. In a critical moment, Gannicus picks up a shield and pushes Crixus aside, blocking a fatal blow for him, but this leads to his own elimination. The original 3-to-1 advantage suddenly becomes a 1-on-1 match, surprising everyone. Gannicus's attacks, though precise, still can inflict decisive damage on Caburus, while Caburus's powerful blows are all lethal. Dodging too late, Gannicus is thrown into the air, and even though he barely survives by using a corpse as a shield, he's left at the end of his rope. Just when everyone thinks the outcome is decided, Gannicus remembers Crixus's skill of static breaking when trapped in a desperate situation during their fight. When an opponent launches a killing blow, it's also when they're most likely to expose a weakness. By concentrating and seizing that fleeting opportunity, one might turn defeat into victory. Everyone's jaws drop in disbelief. Even Caburus doesn't realize how he died. With powerful strength and indomitable will, Gannicus creates miracles again and again. He is the undisputed god of the arena. Quintus is elated. His family has produced another champion gladiator. Nobles praise him and offer olive branches of cooperation. Salonius, unwilling to see Quintus's success, suggests granting Gannicus freedom to showcase the magistrate's generosity and mercy. No noble would refuse such a prestige-enhancing act, and Quintus dares not spoil the mood and reluctantly agreeing.
Gannicus has proven himself to the city of Capua. Let him be rewarded with freedom.
Gannicus becomes the first gladiator to shed his slave status in the arena. He gifts his champion's prize to Crixus, hoping he will continue the legend. From then on, countless Roman gladiators will follow in his footsteps, fighting bloodily for a chance to change their fate. After bidding farewell to his brothers in arms of many years, he sets off on a path of freedom he never dared to dream of. Even having lost an ace, Quintus remains confident in leading his family to rise again. Little does he know that 2 years later, he will fall by the sword of the legendary gladiator Spartacus.